Hello everyone and welcome to my 2023 bug video. It's been a very interesting year for my account and I just wanted to talk a little about what I have in my special little looting bag and what's the purpose of all of those items. I have two UIMs that I play on, my main maxed UIM that you are looking at right now, free searing, and my free-to-play UIM, which I will get to in a second. So with that much to talk about, let's start already. The main goal for the past year was to finish all of the stashes, get all the items and finish all of the stashes, and I managed to complete that not too long ago actually. So most of the PVM actions that I was doing was working towards that goal. So this is what the looting bag was looking like last year. As you can see, a lot of PVM supplies and, well, just killing supplies and not too much gear. And this is what the looting bag is looking like now. You might see a similarity. This is pretty much exactly the same bag, just with more supplies. The order I tried to keep wherever possible. But yeah, I wanted to talk about every single stack we have here and what is the purpose of it. So starting with, we have herbs. They're actually in the same order like last year. We have dwarf weeds, cadantines, lantadimes, snapdragons, and torstalls, and a little bit of grimy corms that I'm getting from Hydra right now actually, so they just occupy a spot in the looting bag, but I will be trying to get rid of them because I don't plan to keep worms long term as in a herb form. I keep them as seeds. So this is mostly for the herb lore XP. I really like the concept of post 99 XP, and herb lore is one of those skills that if you don't actively just keep the supplies every time you get them, you are missing out on a lot of XP. So these are the herbs that I keep in the herb form because they are the most important for PVM as well. Like, you need cadantines for super defenses, plus, you know, making super defenses is just enjoyable. Lantadimes for actually anti-fire potions for Vorkath, and maybe a little bit magic potions for just pure XP. Snapdragons for super restores, torstalls for super combats. And I tried to use up dwarf weeds actively to make ranging potions. Probably now that I will be done with Hydra at some point, I will use up this stack and free up this slot too, together with Corms. Wherever I get seeds for any of those 5 herbs, dwarves, cadantines, lantadimes, snapdragons, torstalls, I just plant it right away and just try to keep them in the herbs form. So yeah, that is what the herbs are looking like. When it comes to potions, I actually have very little brews and super restores, but there aren't many places where I use them. Probably the only place where I used a lot of brews is TOA, and I didn't do that many runs. I will be probably coming back to it at some point, but I'm in no rush. The current overarching goal for the account is 1 billion GP to fund 200 mil fletching. And while TOA sounds like a good place to get some GP, it's not the most important, so probably at the back burner. The stamina stack didn't change at all compared to last year because there just isn't any places I use staminas at, but that will change once I start making arrows. We will be using staminas at Herbivore. And ranging potions, something new. I don't think I had any ranging potions at this point last year. But yeah, as I said, I just try to keep using up dwarf weeds and keeping them in this one slot as potions and not separately as herbs and potions. Next up, there's uncut rubies and uncut diamonds. I also had these stacks last year, but they grew by about 2k. The initial goal to keep them was to get an unbeatable crafting record, but since I started keeping those stacks like years ago, there were many pieces of content added that drop uncut rubies and uncut diamonds, and eventually people just started getting records by just doing a lot of PVM, like Gauntlet. Nowadays, GT2 bosses drop a lot of uncut gems. So I think what I will do is I will get rid of rubies soon. We'll make them into bracelets most likely once I get 6k noted gold bars, and I'll get them for some GP, but I would like to keep the uncut diamonds. I think getting the record with just uncut diamonds might still be possible. Next, probably the most questionable 2 slots in my looting bag, the battle staves and the fire orbs. At some point, I decided to keep all of the noted battle staves that I get from PVM. I didn't buy any of those, just to make them into battle staves for crafting XP and alch them at some point. I started keeping all of the noted fire orbs at Serb, and since I went a little bit dry, we have a pretty decent stack here. This will be finished off with water orbs from Maspa in the near future, and after that, I will probably just start alching the random battle staves I get from PVM drops, because I cannot anymore excuse using a slot just for this. They can be alched for 4k and be done with. As a UIM, it's very hard to excuse keeping noted battle staves. Next up, over 10k Wines of Zamorak. This is the result of my recent KQ grind. I went extremely dry for a dragon pick and we got a lot of noted Wines of Zami. And I don't plan to drop them. We will be getting noted dwarf weeds, and once I hit 10k, I will probably use them up and get rid of both of those slots at the same time. Noted magic logs. We got a lot more of those, I think from KQ as well. The goal for them was to make them into magic longbows for both fletching XP and GP. That sounds like a perfect use case. But what currently is gonna happen to them is I will be making birdhouses while I'm doing herbivore. So these will be made into birdhouses. And noted dragon bones. I keep them because one day I want to have a huge ass stack of noted dragon bones, and well, yeah, you have to keep dragon bones for that to happen. Next up we have Zulra scales and arrow shafts. I don't plan to go back to Zulra, so probably at near future I will dismantle Serp, but before that I want to go to Vorkath with it. So I'm not sure if I can dismantle it now, so for now, just to be safe, I'm keeping both of those. I don't use many Zulra SKs at all. I don't use blowpipe at all, but I plan to start using blowpipe for tutorial tasks and for TOA, so I'm keeping these just so they're here. And arrow shafts are of course for 200 mil fletching. This is enough arrow shafts for 200 mil. I just have to attach feathers and arrowheads and then we are 200 mil fletching. Next up is what probably is in most UIM bags, and I mean items. When you look at bags of most developed UIMs, they're like over 60% items and maybe a little bit supplies. I don't have that many items because I don't do raids. I don't really like PVM all that much, so we have very few, but those that I have I'm really proud of and I really like, and one of them we got this year is a Dragon Warhammer. I went very under the drop rate, it was about 1,000 kills, so I'm really grateful for that. Immediately it found a use at the very long KQ grind. Next up we have an Anguish and I'm wearing a Torture, so that is my necklaces together with Occult Necklace. I used to use a Fury, but at some point once I decided to make an Anguish, there was really no point to keep a Fury. So yeah, we're using a Torture now. Basilisk Jaw for the Nate DZ Dot helmet. The Serp, which is on the chopping block, but just not yet. Blowpipe, Ancient Staff. I actually am collecting points for a Master Wand that will be claimed if I ever get a Kodai insignia, but even then that is a tricky thing because I still need to keep an Ancient Staff for Master Clues, so I guess this is a permanent slot until Jagex adds another item with -1 prayer bonus. Next up, there is Uncharted Toxic Trident, which, you know, no other staves, so that is necessary, and my pride and joy, the only purple I ever got, the Osmamten's Fang. Last year, when I was making my back video, I just got it shortly before that, and at that point I didn't know how strong it is, and now I use it pretty much everywhere. The only other melee weapons I use is Lance for Hydra, and every other place I just use the Fang. It's just so busted. And when it comes to our inventory, some things cannot be kept in the looting bag or they spilled over. We have the Blood Runes. The stack just keeps growing. I did Guardians of the Rift for the outfit not too long ago, and in my downtime I'm making Blood Runes because they're just very good GP when I'm at work or something. And the stack will just keep growing and growing and growing. This year, I also opened 100 masters that I've been keeping for a year and a half, and the stack is already starting to look nice again, so I can't wait to get to opening those soonish. Probably going for 200 this time. And there are also some hard caskets that I'm keeping. For hard caskets, I'm way more ambitious. I'm aiming for 1,000 in one big opening. But since I'm not doing any specific casket farming at this point, they're just passive whatever I'm getting from Slayer, the stack will grow very slowly, but that's alright. And I have the super combats and the prayer potions. So I think that is pretty much it. Let's also check the seed box. I'm letting these seeds grow and grow the stacks, because I want to plant them all when I'm doing herbivore together with fletching. And I just pray that I don't wipe before then, because this will be probably the biggest loss. So yeah, we have 2,500 close-ish, a little under toad flags. Next stack is irids, avantos, renars, worms, and I wanted to keep my 6th herb stack, but I decided I'll just keep snapegrass, because when it comes down to making potions, I just want to have this ready to go. Alright, so that has been my main UIM. When it comes to the goals for this year, as I said, the main goal is getting 1 billion GP to fund 200 mil fletching. And it's really hard to say if we will hit it this year. And if I do, the next immediate goal is to start making arrows together with a whole list of activities I have written down already. So the activities for the next 1, 2, maybe potentially even 3 years are already set in stone. And the second account I wanted to talk about is my free-to-play UIM, but before we get into all of the juicy stacks I have in my inventory, I wanted to quickly talk about the skills. About 1 or 2 months ago, Jagex, for unknown reasons, decided to make it so the free-to-play member skills are no longer grayed out. So if you mouse over them, they still say, like, for example, agility members only, but they're just look normal. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out, because if we compare to my skills from last year, I got exactly 10 levels. That is 1 level in attack, 6 levels in prayer, and 3 levels in crafting. And apart from the 1 attack level that I got just to round it out to a clean 99, all of the prayer and crafting XP I got was from ranging, which is what I was doing all year, pretty much every single day. And we started the year with about 30 million range XP, and we are finishing it with about 75 mil. So that was all obtained ranging only 3 different types of monsters: the moss giants, ogresses, and flesh crawlers, although I tried to keep the flesh crawlers to the minimum. So let's look at the inventory. On the left you can see what it looks like last year, and this is what it looks like now. I want to quickly go over every single item and talk a little bit about it. So first, the trusty chisel. All of the free-to-play monsters drop gems plus fresh crawlers. I keep calling them fresh crawlers. That's just because it's hard for me to say flesh crawlers, so excuse that. But they also drop the bone fragments. So you need to use a chisel on whatever they drop to obtain bone fragments. So this item is just so precious to me. So much 0-time crafting XP obtained just thanks to this chisel. You'll see it in my inventory probably till the end of time. Next up, there is a lot of arrows. So all of the monsters I kill, maybe except flesh crawlers, drop arrows. And I use iron arrows at flashes for AFK if I really need something heavily AFK, if my life's hectic, a lot of responsibilities. I just go to flashes, use my iron arrows. And then I use steel arrows for moss giants, because they hit pretty high and they have pretty low defense, so there is not really much point in using more expensive arrows. And then I use mithril arrows and adi arrows on ogresses, and every once in a while I pop to Varrock and buy pretty much every single type of arrow and grow these stacks back so I can keep using them. Let me wield the arrows back. Next up, we have the uncut gems. I'm getting a little bit of rubies and diamonds from Obor, from like over a year ago. And all of the other gems are from the Molly random. I keep them all. It would probably be better to use them up as I go to keep the inventory clean, but you know me, I'm a hoarder. Maybe one day we can cut them all and get like 2 crafting EHP or something. So it's definitely not worth it, but I love hoarding my stuff, and you'll probably could see that on my main UIM as well. It's like a pattern. Next up, I have a lot of coal for zero reason to use it. I just keep it from the maze randoms because it looks clean, but the only conceivable use for it would be to grind Ankus with Crumble Undead and get noted mithril from them and then superheat it with coal, and it's this whole thing. It's very likely not worth it, but I just keep it. It looks cool, I like it. Then my favorite stack, 1000 noted big bones. I got it from Obor some time ago, and a goal for a very distant future is to get 10,000 noted big bones and get 150k per XP day record. That would be very cool. Up until that point, it just looks really nice in the inventory, just like half of the other items that I keep. When you're ranging Leer, at least I have something cool to look at. Next up, there's bone fragments. You use them to charge the Skull Scepter, and I can use it to teleport to Barbarian Village, which is the closest teleport to the body runecrafting altar, which is the best free-to-play runecrafting XP. Plus, it's also a quick teleport to Flashes when, as I said, I need something AFK. So I try to grow these stacks up. Many players do actually, but most of them use melee for that reason. I use ranged just because I try to get ranged XP. And while this looks like a lot of fragments, this is very, very, very far, actually nothing in the long road to 99 runecrafting, so I'm just trying to keep every single advantage I can get. And next up, all of the runes I have, all of those enormous stacks are from Ogresses. The only runes I don't keep from Ogresses are water and earth runes, and I'm constantly debating keeping them just so I don't have to drop them. But all the other runes I'm using. Fire runes are used for alchs because Ogresses drop rune items that I alch. Air runes, I will have to buy a whole lot of air runes for all the mind, chaos and death runes I'm getting in the future. So I decided just to keep them a little less buying later on. Mind runes, chaos runes and death runes, I keep them all because very long down the road, if I ever get 200 mil range, I also want to get 200 mil magic. There is one free-to-play UIM with both 200 mil range and 200 mil magic. His name is Cent, or 5ent, and I got really inspired by him, so that is the very long goal. I also keep Cosmic Runes, just because I can drop them one day to my alt. Let's see what they're worth now. Yeah, not too much, but they look nice, so I decided to keep them. Next up, there is GP. Usually I keep it in a coffer, but I withdrew all of my GP to showcase a little how much I got. And there isn't really anything to spend GP on in free-to-play. I can buy arrows or runes with it, but there is no shop that sells law or nature runes. So probably I will spend it on chaos or death runes, depending on what I plan to kill for magic XP. Chaos if I decide to go with Ankus. And most likely chaos again if I decide to go with ogresses, because devs are just so expensive. And next two stacks are law runes and nature runes, which are two most precious free-to-play runes. You need law runes for pretty much every single type of teleport and for training crafting, and you can telegrab with them, but I don't because I don't want to lose all of my stuff. And the next up is nature runes that I'm getting for 99 smithing. My rough calculations say that I need about 150,000 nature runes together with a Bryophyta essence for the Bryophyta staff, which actually is free to play, to get 99 smithing without using any other method other than superheating. So that is the goal for now, and I don't want to telegraph, as I said, so we have like one more year of ogresses if everything goes well. Next up, there's just 2 items that I want to talk about. There's the Mossy Keys. I want to get about 200, maybe I'll go to 300 if I really enjoy Moss Giants and I want a break from Ogresses, because I want to make sure that when I'm ready with all of the nature runes, I have enough Mossy Keys to get the Bravida Essence, even if I go dry, within reason, so yeah. And last year I also kept a Runeful Helm, but since I'm done with melees, I don't see a point in keeping it, so I'm only keeping the Rune Kite Shield because I cannot smith it myself. And Runeful Helms you can get from Ogresses easily, but a Rune Kite Shield you cannot. You can only get it from Obor, or you can smith it if you have high smithing level, which I don't. I will be dropping it when I'm committing to 99 smithing grind, but that is, as I said, like at least a year away. So that is the free-to-play character. Yeah, like I said, on my UIM, on my main UIM, I have like 1, 2, maybe 3 more years already planned out, and for this account, it's exactly the same. It's ranging Ogresses for supplies, and then either committing to 200 mil range, although we are very far off, so maybe that's a little early to set big goals like that. And then 99 smithing, and then either training magic post 99, or I will get my feet out of my bootstraps or something, however you call it. I'm not American. And we will work towards max, but the big prayer RC goal is terrifying. Alright, so that was the free-to-play UIM, and I have one more thing I wanted to talk about. And that is my alt. All year long, whenever I cannot keep items on my UIM, I drop it to this account, and then at the end of the year, I just sell it all, and we can see what I dropped in a year of playing on my UIM. So without further ado, with a further ado, don't look at whatever I have at the bottom of my inventory or in the second tab of the bank. This is all from last year. All of the stuff that I dropped this year will be in the main tab. So let's take a look, and that's worth 308 million GP of the stuff that I dropped this year. Now, as I said, I don't do that much PVM, so most of the worth is from purple sweets and from the teleports and from all the various things that I couldn't keep. But we have some items. I don't want to talk too much about it, so you can just take a look. I'll scroll very slowly through it, and I will sell them all now, and we will have some spare change for bonds or for whatever I want to spend them on. And that will be it for the video. I'm getting a little bit nostalgic thinking about everything I did last year, and I hope the next year will be as good as this one. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you had a fantastic year, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.